Hi everybody, it's Sarah at the Windham Public Library, and this is September's Art Night In. For this month, we are going to be making these fall felt coasters, and the kits are at the circulation desk. They have small kits. They have 2 pieces of felt in them, 2 large pieces of felt, different colors. So you'll see something like a light color and a dark color. They have 4 of these different color felt leaves. They each have an embroidery needle and some embroidery thread, and they have a circle which you'll use as a pattern for cutting out your coasters. So let's get started. I'm going to show you just how the little tricks I do for step by step, but really this is kind of your own, using your own stitching and things like that, and you can look up different ways to do applique and embroidery stitching if you'd like, but I just do like a standard running stitch whenever I do anything, and sometimes I make things up as I go along. So all right, let's get started. So what you're going to start with is I cut mine into 4 different squares like this, and then I put my pattern on top, and a lot of times I'll take my needle and I'll just poke it through like that to hold it on while I'm cutting, and then I will just get started by cutting both pieces, both colors at the same time while holding on to my pattern like that. When you're done, you'll cut it out like this. You can take your little pattern off, and it's up to you which side of the coaster you want to add your leaf to. I was kind of doing the lighter side and leaving the darker side for the bottom. So the first step for this would be that you would applique your leaf onto the top, and then the second step would be that we would then sew this bottom piece onto, like I did here, and you can see I did these stitches around here. You can see very tiny stitches in here where I put the leaf on. I did different stitches on this one just to make it fun, and I did slightly different stitches along here to make that one different and fun. So you'll have some embroidery thread inside your kit, and in order to have enough embroidery thread for everything that you want to do, you're going to want to separate it into 2 strings. So each length of embroidery thread has 6 strings in it, and you're going to want to take 2 strings out of those 6 and separate. I'm not even sure if the camera's picking this up or not, but you just want to separate so that you are only using 2 strings at a time. And that will give you enough so that you can sew everything that you have in your kit. So to start, I'm going to go from underneath, and I'm going to start right here at the stem and pull it through, and then just at a slight angle go under the leaf and down. And then I'm just going to, I gauge it with my eyes, the distance between my stitches, and I kind of try and keep them about the same. So here we go, pulling in like that. And then in at an angle like that. And then once you go all the way around and you've stitched your leaf all the way onto its piece of felt, you are then ready. Remember, things can get tangled, so you are then ready to stitch your 2 pieces together. And I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to do that next. So when you've finished stitching your leaf on the other side, you will knot it, and you won't see anything on this side, so this is kind of the side where it's okay to get a little bit messy. Just going to put a double knot in there and trim that up. You probably will need fabric scissors for this, or a fresh pair of any scissors. Now, if you don't have that at home and the felt doesn't seem to be cutting for you, I was just at Michael's and I got a pair of brand new scissors for $3, and as long as I don't cut paper with them, they are cutting fabric just fine. So you have that option there. So then the next part is to kind of line these up, and you can see that there's some like small points right here and they're not quite lining up perfectly. So I'm going to trim it down before, I'm going to trim and make sure the brown doesn't go too far over the beige before I decide to sew it all down. So I just some quick little trims like that. And then I'll get started with this. Now this stitch probably is some kind of real stitch, and I'm not a seamstress by any means, but I do love to play with all types of embroidery thread and yarn and any type of fabrics. So I just kind of go in through the back, and then I go around, up and in through the back again, and that gives me that nice little tuck right there. And then I just go over one and down, and I go around and through the same hole again, and that leaves me with that. So my next will be to come up, just, you know, I try and leave about the same amount of space, and around and through the same hole again, and then spaced over, down and through, and around and through again. So this is this stitch right here. And what I did for this one was I just went back through when I was done going around, and I just covered the gap between the ones that were missing. One, I just got a really awesome tip from a patron that came in, and she said that when she saw that when folks are doing this, they actually draw 2 dots on their thumb, and they use that as the space between the 2 stitches. And I was like, that's great, because then it's like just a measurement that you can use. I usually eyeball just about everything. And I was teaching my oldest child how to do this the other day, and I told them, remember, especially with embroidery thread, you can just take it all out if you need to. If you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. You can just take it out, and you can start over again, and you can reuse your thread, and it's really isn't a big deal. All right, so then you go through like this, and you can make up your own stitches. So you could also, if you didn't want to do something that kind of went around the edges like this, you could do like just a simple stitch up and down, trying to keep the space in between and the length of your stitches like the same, so that they look neat and tidy, like that. I think the whole thing is you get to play with them. You can make all 4 different, you could make all 4 the same. So there you go. All right, so the class for this, the in-person class for this at the library is the Monday after Labor Day weekend. So I believe that's the 11th, the 12th. I'm not 100% sure. It's the Monday after Labor Day weekend. And it's from 5:30 to 6:30, and I would love to see you there. I'll have all the supplies, but if you can't make the class, please feel free to come pick up the supplies at the circulation desk and follow along with this video. I hope you have a great start to your school year and that you have a happy beginning of fall. Take care.